Hello, welcome to Chez Les Fleur podcast. This is a podcast where we talk to women that are doing all sorts of exciting things in business and they're growing their business. They're in small business retail, they're in medium-sized businesses, and a lot of them are breaking stereotypes, breaking the norm, breaking barriers, doing all sorts of fabulous things. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. And if you are a repeat visitor to our podcast, we're so glad to have you back, and we're glad that you're enjoying everything we're talking about here. Today, our guest is Victoria Xiaoling Wang, and she owns T-Elle Boutique in Peterborough. And I suspect she hasn't always been in retail. So I'm really anxious to hear what Victoria has to say. So welcome, Victoria. I'm glad you had time from your busy schedule to be with us. Thank you so much. And tell us, what did you do before you had your store?
Yeah, thank you, Janet, for the opportunity to be on this program. We're very exciting. Okay, so what I did before owning this retail, you probably won't believe it. My background is linguistics. I have a undergraduate degree in English Lit and master's degree in general linguistics and PhD in linguistics and pedagogy. So I have always been teaching languages. Before coming to North America, actually, I shouldn't say I owned, my parents owned a language institute, and I was helping out over there. I was teaching Chinese and English, both Chinese and English languages over there. And at one time, I was the director of that language institute. And then I came to North America. I first landed in the States. I started my studies in the University of Hawaii, and then after I got all my degrees, after I graduated with my PhD degree, I taught in different institutions in the States, including University of Hawaii and Middlebury College. And I also taught at Harvard University for 1 year and Wellesley College for 1 year before moving to Canada. And then I started my teaching career at Trent University and also University of Toronto Scarborough campus. And I have been teaching at Trent University ever since. And I'm still teaching the Chinese language culture over there. And with this boutique thing, it was pretty random. It was an interesting opportunity, which I will tell later. But anyway, before this, and also I got my Zumba license in 2013 because I've always been loving dancing. I started with Chinese folk dance when I was little. And then in the university, I took several modern dance credits. And then in 2013, I got a chance to get this Zumba license, and I've been teaching this Zumba. Zumba is a dance fitness style of dance. So I've been teaching ever since as well. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And in your free time?
Yeah, in my free time, I love, of course, meeting with friends. I love reading as well. I love walking, and anyway, I love all kinds of stuff. And I also do some Chinese opera thing. I have joined a group. It's a Chinese opera troupe, actually. So sometimes we do some Chinese opera get together. So that's what I've been doing as well.
Wow,
Yeah,
beautiful.
so thank
Beautiful.
you.
So, and on top of all of this, you have a women's clothing store in downtown Peterborough.
That's right.
How did you go from teaching Chinese at Trent University to owning a woman's clothing store?
Right. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, it was a little bit random, but on the other hand, it's not quite as random. But anyway, to start with, to be honest, though, I had never really noticed this TL boutique, okay, on the corner of Water Street and Charlotte Street. Even though I had passed by there like million times, I never really noticed this boutique thing until one day I was driving by and that was also when my son, who graduated with a business degree, and we were looking for some kind of business for him. And so I was very kind of really like it was just probably just happened. It just happened that I noticed this location, and the previous owner was having a sale at that time. So we noticed that, oh, this is a nice location. And this is what my son actually probably he wanted to start with some kind of clothing business as well. I said, oh, it's a nice location. So anyway, so that drew me into her store, the previous owner. So I went there. I just wanted to check it out, and also because she was having a huge closing sale, right? So I wanted to check out some clothing too. So I went there, and then we had a nice chat. And later, we actually literally I bought the whole store. So it was very interesting. It was very interesting. But however, after owning this business for this, about a little over a year now, I have been really thinking my passion for fashion is not is actually I think it's probably within, it's built in in me. The reason I am saying is that because with my background of linguistics and dance, and now with fashion, with all these three on the surface that no relation at all, no, these three areas. However, I have been thinking actually they do have one thing in common, that is the expression of one's own values and characteristics. Because if we think this way, in languages, the choice of words and terms that you want to use expresses who you are, right? Expresses who you are and expresses the what kind of characteristics you are. And with dance, with the moves and the choice of music and the styles, also expresses what kind of type of person or what type of personality you are. And now with fashion, same thing. The choice of your wardrobe expresses your own personality. So with these three, that they actually have the same thing in common. It's just to express yourself, your personality. So I would think that I think it is all have all has always been in me. So let's put it this way. Before it was actually really actually this business was supposed to be for my son, but now just because the previous owner also suggests that because we in Peterborough we do need some kind of this kind type of clothing store, so that's why I'm staying right now to to do it, and which I have enjoyed every bit of it, even though challenging, which it was really nothing to do with what I did before, but I really enjoyed everything, and it's also very a learning curve for me, and I'm really grateful for all the support I have gained.
Well, and I agree with what you say that the creative people express their creativity
Correct.
in there's thousands of ways, whether it's painting or sculpture or fashion or dance or
Correct.
vocal music
Yes.
or
Mm,
instrumental music or there's just
correct.
so many ways. And whether you're an expert in the other person's art form, I don't very often meet, except in my florist circles, people that have floral design as an art form. You can appreciate, like my friends that paint, I can appreciate how they chose a color and why they put it there, and I may not know how to do it myself, but I can see that in their work and enjoy it. And
Yes.
and I think that core in creativity is just always there in all of it.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So you bought your business, did you buy your business pre-COVID?
No, actually, after COVID,
Oh, okay.
which
Okay.
is I also see it as a blessing, is because after COVID, everything came back, and then
Mhm.
there's more needs in for, there are a lot of more gatherings and more parties, more events. Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes,
I'm really grateful.
yes. And
Yeah.
people want something new and they,
Right, right.
I think a lot of people are seeing this post-COVID time as, you know, something new and, some of the things that maybe that fell by the wayside during COVID that aren't going to come back. That's fine. I'm going to do something else in its place and needing new clothes and
Right.
eating different food and eating differently and
That's right. Hmm.
socializing differently. And I don't think there's a
That's
right
right.
or a wrong.
Hmm. That's right. Yes, for sure.
Um, where do you see the future of fashion?
Hmm. Well, I think with the AI, the technology advancement, the future of fashion, let's let's get down to the basic, material wise, the fashion material, I think definitely is going to be like more earthy, and organic material for sure with fashion. And as I said, with AI is technology, advancement, and is definitely just more towards, tech oriented kind of fashion. And in terms of, as I just mentioned, in terms of the clothing wise, is material wise, is definitely more organic and earthy kind of materials, right? And while we think that people will probably still go with a little bit simpler kind of style, I still see that a little bit fancier kind of style is still the goal, because we just need, for different occasions and different locations, we still need those fancier kind of styles. So I would say, yeah, so I think both types will still be the um, the mainstream of fashion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
And as I think too, as we all become more aware of fast fashion and what that's doing to our environment and to landfills and to, third world countries that really don't want our leftover fast fashion.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
they're, starting to be vocal about that, which I don't blame them, as they say, why can't we create our own garments in our own country instead of taking this on. And I think as we become more aware, I agree that
Hmm.
the organic fabrics, the well-made clothes,
Right.
things that you don't just wear twice and throw out and or hand, send to a thrift shop.
Right.
I think every year we get more and more aware of what that's doing for the world globally.
Yes, yes. And I do see that, when leather once was considered as like a more noble kind of wear, right? In the future, definitely the more earthier kind of material is still the is will be the leading trend. As a matter of fact, I just watched a very interesting video last time. Uh, a chemical uh, PhD of chemistry, he started his own line with mushroom materials, and which is actually looks exactly the same as leather. People cannot tell if it's a leather or it's made of mushrooms. So that was a very interesting concept. So I would think that, just really, as I said, just like plant-based materials will be the leading trend in the future for fashion, in the fashion world.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree with you because you see it
Mhm.
more and more and more and companies that maybe been selling shoes for decades, maybe even a century now, have a vegan option. And
Yes.
and it's getting, every year it gets more prevalent, and I think that's
Mhm.
good.
Yes. Yes. It is definitely as just more environmental uh, awareness is definitely the main concern.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think that's true. I think that's true too. And even in my industry as well,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, we're taking it much more seriously, which is good.
Yes, for sure.
So you also belong to Women's Business Network.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's a great group. You meet a lot of great women.
Yes, yes, exactly. Like yourself too.
Well, yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a
Yes, it
lot
is.
of fun.
It
So
is.
it's nice. It's nice to have that group of people that you can bounce ideas off, and hear what their comments are, what their problems are, and how they're solving them. And yeah, that's
Yes. Yes. And that's also the I would say one of the advantages of owning a business here in Peterborough, which really I have over this past year, I've met all the people that I had never had a chance to meet before because all different, right? The different areas, different focus. But this past year, because owning this business, I've met so many, interesting and successful people, and which is a really a blessing.
yeah,
Mhm.
it really is great. It's one of the great
Mm.
things about the city.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us. What I
Oh,
like
thank
to
you.
do to finish off our time together is I like to ask you like 5 questions, like really just give me a quick answer on them. And if you're up for that, I've got some questions for you.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
our first question is laptop or tablet?
Okay. I would say both because they have different functionalities.
Okay, so you don't have a favorite. Okay.
Both.
Elegant or flirty?
Okay. I also say both because it also depends on the occasions.
True that. Chips or nuts?
Okay. Definitely potato chips and walnuts. So I
Okay.
don't have a preference, but
Yeah,
these two.
yeah. I tend to have a weakness for chips too. Sunrise or sunset?
Mm. I also like both because they have their own beauties in different times of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crossword or Sudoku?
Um, I tend to say Sudoku because I like numbers actually, surprisingly. But crosswords are interesting too. But sometimes I probably don't have that much patience for that. Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah. It is they're both different, but
yeah, they're very different. Yeah. But as a linguist, you might expect me to say crosswords, right?
actually I did.
Right?
I did.
I know. But somehow I don't know. I like Sudoku.
So you have a very beautiful name,
Oh, thank you.
Victoria Sholing.
Shaolin, yes.
Xiaoling. Tell us about your name.
Okay, yeah. So, um, my Chinese name is Shaolin. Shao means beautiful or Maladia, just beautiful music or beautiful melody. And Ling means years. So basically, when my parents gave me this name, they wanted me to always have a beautiful life full of beautiful things, or such as music. And Victoria was given by my mom, actually, because as I mentioned before, my parents used to own a language institute. So when my mom taught English at that time, I was sitting in her classes, and so she gave me this name just for practice sake. And my sister's English name is Margaret, so we love British names. So that's why she gave me this name, Victoria. And I only use this Victoria when I, sometimes just with casual friends, with friends and, other people. But when I teach Chinese language and culture, I definitely want my students to call me Shaolin, or sometimes they call me like Professor Wan or Wang Lao Shi. Lao Shi in Chinese means teacher in general. So Wang Lao Shi, yeah, something like that.
Beautiful.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's so great. Well, thank you again for being with us today. I really love hearing your story and all the fun you're having and everything that you're doing. It's really exciting and I appreciate seeing you at Women's Business Network and getting to know you better and I really am grateful that you took time to be on our podcast and tell your story because that's where the richness of our fabric of our community is and I really thank you very much for being with us today.
No, I really have to thank you, Janet, for giving me this opportunity to
Well,
talk to
well,
you.
it's
Thank
it's
you.
well, thank you. And if you're watching our podcast for the first time, welcome. We've got more to come. And if you have returned to our podcast, we welcome you back. We love hearing what women are doing, what small business is doing. Even if you don't have a business and you just like to hear what's going on in the business world, we welcome you. I'll see you next week and thank you for watching.